Right. Welcome back, everyone. My Saturday live stream. I just went live with Bitcoin Nick, lead Prehado, and we're gonna get another one on. We got some rock star agents on today. We got Justin Cambra, Denzel, and Dylan on. So, morning, fellas.
Good morning. How's it going?
Good
Oh,
morning.
Denzel, were you mute? I don't know if I could hear you. Try to say.
Can you hear me?
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
There
Yeah.
you go.
It's been a while since Denzel's been on. So maybe quickly just give a 60-second spiel, introduce yourself, and what market you're in, man.
Hey everyone, my name's Denzel Falcon. I am a real estate agent investor here in the Metro Detroit area. I'm Michigan, obviously. Yeah, I am here. Been on a couple times with Mark, and yeah, ready. I sell real estate. I help people pass their real estate exam. I'm kind of everywhere in the real estate industry, so they one-stop shop.
Prehado, and we're gonna get very cool, very cool. So yeah, let's dig into it. I know, if everyone's been paying attention, the 10-year has dipped under four. Rates look like it's slightly touching under six now. And maybe what are you guys seeing in your market? So maybe like Justin, for you, do you think the spring market's going to heat up?
It hasn't heated up yet. I would say the last 2 years, typically we see like March to August is kind of your peak up for the year, and then the last 2 years we saw it actually pick up kind of Jan Feb, so it kind of shifted forward a little bit. This year we haven't seen the pickup, and before this call I was looking up the for King County, which is predominant most of the population of Washington's in King County. So I was looking up the metrics, and man, all the metrics are either flat or downward trending. Downward trending meaning either the prices are going down or the days on market's going up. Supplies are going up as well. So um, not our typical market relative to the last 2 years.
Denzel, what are you seeing in your area in Detroit?
Areas, what for us, obviously seasonality here, going into February, going into March and spring. So as it get warmer right now, it's starting to pick up actually. I was out with a couple buyers over the weekend, last weekend and even yesterday, and multiple offer situations still at this point. Yeah, I think right now it's starting to pick up just as far as even rentals as well too. So I just had put one on the market. I had it listed for in January, and it wasn't getting anything. And all of a sudden, you got five or six applicants, all at once within the last week. So I definitely think it's warming up in each way for us rentals and just on the market in general.
Are you guys still frozen though in Detroit?
Oh no, no. Honestly, next week is supposed to be in the 50s, which is like everything here. So we just hoping to keep it like that. But it says it's supposed to rain, so we're not frozen anymore. But it's working out.
Before Dylan chimes in on his market, there is everyone's channels or Instagram if you want to connect with them. Dylan and Justin, I believe, are also streaming also. So if you want to jump over there, subscribe and like. But yeah, Dylan, what are you seeing in your market for you?
Yeah, so just talking to some of the agents in my office and then looking at my own personal listings, it seems like it's starting to pick up. I know one of my friends, he does a lot of transactions on the north side of town, which tends to be a little bit more expensive. And he said the activity started picking up in mid-February for him, just getting a lot busier. His listings up there, getting offers. The transactions that I have going on right now are more in downtown and lower price points. So the listings I have right now are at those price points. So it hasn't picked up too much for me yet, but I'm also selling some weird product right now. Like I have a condo that I'm selling. I'm not used to selling condos, used to selling single family houses. Also in that neighborhood, condos sit for like 4 months on average. So I was like, the best way we can compete is on price. That's really all we can do if we want to sell it quickly. Um, but I have started noticing that I have been getting more showings the past 2 weeks, whereas the last 2 months have been dead.
Exactly. Yep. That's what I've
Yeah.
been seeing too.
So Denzel, with those applicants that you're getting,
Yeah.
what I had noticed towards the end, near like fall last year, I would get a ton of applicants, but I was getting a lot of bad applicants, where I was
Uh,
used to getting a lot of B applicants, say from like Zillow.
yeah.
What are you noticing about like the credit worthiness or like the quality of tenants that you're getting to apply?
Yeah, so I use Zillow primarily for applicants as well. I kind of do both. Sometimes I'll list on Zillow and I'll list on MLS or whatever the case may be to see what I'm getting. But of recent, what I've noticed is I've never like listed my rentals because all my leases usually end in like April or so or May. So this is like my first one because I have had like in a January, February type market. And the applicants that I was actually getting was actually young professionals looking to move that was actually pretty decent. Of course, you get some of the outskirts people that's always going to apply, think they have a chance, but for the most part, they were all pretty well round tenants that I had to go through, which was actually really interesting. It was fewer, but it was like so it wasn't like like I would get one and then maybe 3 4 days go by. Here come another one, then another one, and they were all looking at. But what I've noticed actually now is a lot of people, a lot of the tenants, they have like they doing this roommate thing where they have like a buddy, and they like or it might be a female or female, whatever, and they're like roommating. And they all young professionals, but they just roommating in a room, which I find is very interesting because my rentals is like within like the 1,600 to 1,800 dollar range, and that's what I've been getting for the most part, which has been very interesting that I never really seen. I used to get like a lot of families and stuff like that, which I still get, but more it's just like young professionals that's actually like getting together to rent.
Like rent hacking. So you have
Yeah.
Yeah,
a 4 bedroom, and the guy who coordinates it ends up living there for free.
exactly. Yeah.
I do see Charles McCune tuning in. So just he is studying for his real estate license right now. So Charles, you can also maybe reach out to Denzel if you have any questions, because Denzel also helps people pass the real estate exam, right?
Yep. I'll still do it. I got actually someone tomorrow morning. So yeah, I usually do it through Zoom or whatever like that, or Google Meets, and yeah, go from there. Reach out.
I do see Rusty tuning in. He says, I'm having a tough time getting my two vacant rentals filled. A lot
Mm.
of tours, but not a lot of qualified tenants. I believe his property are in Oklahoma, I believe.
Where is he?
I think his properties are in Oklahoma.
In Oklahoma. Okay.
Yeah. So Justin wouldn't probably know that price point. Oh, well, you're out of state stuff far, kind of, right?
Yeah, I actually used to live in Oklahoma back in the day.
Oh
So
wow.
I'm just northwest Oklahoma City.
Would you have any? Is any of yours vacant right now? Your out of state stuff, Justin?
I have one vacant unit right now, but it's technically not vacant because we have another tenant living in there because we have a water issue. So we got to fix the water issue for that tenant. Once we'll put him back in his original, then we'll fill that last one. So, knock on wood. I think the out of state, there's only one vacancy. I want to say there's like 46 units or something like that. So, sitting pretty good right now, and no delinquencies at all. So,
Oh,
you know,
good.
it's the best it's been in a while.
Good.
At
Good.
least you're sitting that way. I've
Yeah.
got two right now.
Oh, really? Oh, so
Yeah.
what are you doing to help with that situation? So, like Rusty is saying, slowly dropping rent price to be more competitive in the market, understanding this is a slower time of year.
Yeah.
It is, but it's really getting into where it's about to be pretty hot, I think, as far as like renting places go. So one thing that I've done whenever we've had issues leasing an apartment is just retake the pictures from a different angle.
Yeah.
That's a good one. I post on Facebook. I find the local community Facebook groups and I'll put it in there. A lot of times they'll ban you if you put a link, but if you just put some pictures and then you put your phone number so they can contact you, or put your property manager's phone number, or even better, have your property manager post it in that Facebook group, because then they can look them up, see that they're a property manager, it's a trusted source.
Yep.
I found those are really good at getting a lot of people, maybe not the best people all the time, but you'll at least cast a wide net and you get to choose from more potential tenants.
Yeah, Dylan, that's a great point because taking pictures, right? Because honestly, like I was so mad when I did my listing pictures for my rental that I put up in January because obviously it's snow. It makes things look bad. It had a deck. You can't really see the deck. It's covered in snow. So a lot of the things we did is we changed like lighting in the photos, whatever the case may be, made it look brighter, or things look a little bit more darker. Just changing photos definitely helps. And again, like I said, I use Zillow. I don't know what is he using to promote, but Zillow, Facebook Marketplace, like you said, community groups in that area that's possibly looking. I don't know. I've been seeing a lot of actually agent investors saying like if they put signs out or not anymore. I don't know if that's still a thing, but I still put signs out. I got a couple of people that's driving by that's in the area looking to rent, still stay in the area, families. I've got a couple calls that way, but just try to maximize your visibility is going to be probably your best bet. And I mean, and making sure you stand within the market comps of where you are as far as rent. And even if you're not, if you could take a, and what I like to do too, a strategy. I don't know if you like to take like have animals or pets or anything like that in the house, but like for
Hmm.
example, if I know my mark, like I say, for example, my rent is like 1,800, and I know like I want 1,800, I would just mark it at like 1,735 or something like that, 1,725. That way, most people do have pets, and you got that pet fee of like 35, $50 a month, and you're going to hit that target anyway. So even if you just not, even if you like stuck at your number, try to maneuver in that number, but still try to meet that goal. So I try to do that way too. So.
Gibo 56 star 815 says, "What do you think about starting business loan broker business with lenders?" Justin, you ever thought of that?
I mean, I like the concept of it where you could be a one-stop shop, you know. You could have your real estate license, you could be a lender, you can have your insurance, you could have life insurance as well. So then you can basically one-stop shop. You just need somebody who's making money, and then you could package up a property, everything that they need.
Flavio's asking or saying, just I don't know if he's asking you or telling you, but he says, Yakum is your best market. Oh, it's a question. Yakum is your best market?
Yakima has been very stable. So I do like that one. And majority of the tenants have been there for over 2 years now. So anytime you have average tenants over 2 years, that's pretty good. At least for my Midwest. Um, Turnover is what's been killing me in the Midwest.
Really?
Yeah.
Flavio is saying Facebook is my best marketing. Um,
Yeah,
Use Avail for locally when I'm like self-managing, I'm using Avail. And then most of my property managers are using Zillow.
hmm. I've never used it. I'll have to check that out. Is that just a PM platform or?
Yeah, the Avail is actually they have a freemium model. So if you
Hmm.
use all their canned stuff, they make money because you're running the applications, and then if they pay on credit card, I believe they get a fee. And if you change anything, then there's like a $99 upcharge. So like if you want to do something unique in your lease, there's an upcharge. So like you can just create a separate document outside of it and then merge it in. But you can do all the tenant communication, billing, all that kind of stuff in there.
Nice.
I see Andy tuning in from Ohio. Just letting everyone know, Andy just started his YouTube channel, sharing his journey, not just about real estate, but faith, fitness. So I'll put his channel in the chat. But Rusty is saying, considering trying to market one side of a duplex as a midterm rental and listing on Furnish Finder. Any of you guys went into that space, midterm rental, short-term rental space?
I have one right now. And
Oh, actually, yeah, you had the tiny homes, right? You were doing for a while, right?
the tiny homes are a short-term rental.
Yeah.
But my old house hack is a medium-term rental. And from COVID to, I would say, October, November last year, pretty much 2 to, maybe 4 weeks max to kind of fill somebody in. Typically, it'd be, 3 to 4 months. And then the last person moved out, I think it was November. It took a while to get somebody in there, and so we really discounted the price because normally in the summer around 3,500 for a 3 bedroom, 1.5 bath. We ended up, and then the winter is usually around 2,800 to 35 or 2,800 to 3,000. So the winter though, we were at 2,250. I was like, man, let's just get this thing filled, right?
Right, right.
The person that's there wants to stay long term, and we have the World Cup coming up, so we have like a graduated. So in March it goes up to, I want to say it's 2,750, and then then it gets up to 3,000, and then for June with the World Cup, she doesn't have an option to extend in June. So if we, if the supposed World Cup high rents comes in, we have the option to get a full month at, potentially crazy numbers.
That's really good.
Um, Rusty adds in, I've also been letting all the realtors I've worked with in the area know about units available. As realtors, do you ever help link tenants to your past buyers' properties? Oh, great question. Denzel, have you done that before?
So the question is basically if I basically help my tenants with other buyers properties that I have in the past that I worked with.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, not necessarily. Now, I mean, usually when I'm working with buyers or something like that, and or they sellers and they looking to sell a property and it's gone. I mean, those tenants are usually my tenants. They're young. They always say they're younger professionals. They're not looking to really buy at the moment. So I really haven't came into that too much.
All right, Justin, what about you?
Yeah, I'm doing one right now where a past client is looking to sell off some of his assets and roll into some bigger stuff. And to do this, he has it's a single family with the daddy in the back. So to sell them, get max value, he's going through the condoing process right now, and then he's doing cash for keys for his tenant. Now, magically or fortunately, my tenant is moving out today. And so since he wants to do cash for keys and my tenant's moving out and they're literally like a mile apart, mine he has a 2 bed 1 bath, I have a 2 bed 1 bath, 100 square feet bigger. So my past client's gonna give this guy a security deposit back, 1 month rent. I'm lowering my rent only $50 just to keep it flat, and then transition him in, no application. He can bring the pet over, has more parking, and it's newer. So helps the client out, helps me out. We gave him 2 weeks to make a decision. Meanwhile, I'm actively promoting mine just in case this tenant doesn't take it. I can get another tenant. So this is kind of a tenant ends up winning because he can move into this new unit
Right.
and effectively get a free month's rent. Now, it is cumbersome because he's going to move their stuff. Push come to shove, I would help. I'd probably give him 250 or up to 500 just to move him over, right? Because um, vacancy, 1 month of vacancy would be better for me to pay him to move him over.
Yeah.
There is a great question I want to get to shortly. It's about an alligator property, but let's kind of finish with Rusty's midterm. He's asking for midterm, how much more do you charge for rent to make it worth paying all the bills? Now, before anyone answers, Rusty, I don't want you to leave this live stream, but right now the short-term rental call is going on in the school community. So you can always jump in there, and they're a great resource for information. And someone actually also is hoping to start a midterm call in school. But yeah, so for you, Justin, how would you address the pricing on a midterm rental?
Well, it's basically the same as short term or long term. There's a marketplace for it. So one of the questions Richard Riley's asking, what platform? So we use Furnish Finders. So you can go in and look on Furnish Finders, 3 bedrooms in your area, what's available, and the condition, right? Because like 3 bedroom is not necessarily the same when you're in the furnished space because like
Right.
some may have amenities, newer parking, all that kind of stuff. So I look and see what the market is to price it. Now, historically, like I was saying before, around 3,500 in the summer, around 2,800 to 3,000 in the winter. But this year we've seen a little bit less. All these kind of transitional employees, traveling nurses, it feels like there's just less of them out there. So you're having to be a little bit more competitive on price.
Mm, it's good to know.
So 1971 Leslie says, Mark, I follow Zuber and the Amigos, and after escrow assessment, instead of cash flow positive, now is an alligator, $150 a month. I'm assuming. Should I sell it? There's probably a lot more information that we would probably want, but just kind of on the surface, I would kind of look at it, for example, Zuber did a cash out refinance, I believe, at one point, and one of his properties became an alligator. at a certain point. So it also depends on if you have the other assets and cash flow to kind of handle the negative cash flow for some time being. And I think this was kind of one of the questions also that was brought up at the ORAD event, which I'll give Denzel a hard time for not showing up yet. But the one of the questions, like if you have a property that might be an alligator or a problem, would you sell it? And the quick answer was a lot of like the three amigos were saying, yeah, if it's a headache, I get rid of it and try to move on from it, right? But Dion actually broke it down in a different way, which I don't think anyone's ever really mentioned. He said he kind of looks at it like a marriage or a relationship, and before just quickly going to a divorce, you've worked so hard to get to this point. Now let's try to figure out if there's any way that we can save this property or save this relationship, right? So whether it's changing something in your insurance policy to lower the cost of insurance, if you can go contest the property taxes, right? Or if you can do rent by room, right? So try to look at all the situations first before you just quickly go to I'm just going to sell it because it's an alligator, right? So I would try to look. Do you have anything else you guys want to add to that?
Yeah, I can add. So basically, yeah, make sure again look at insurance prices. See what your taxable value is, and see if it was assessed properly, right? Because that happens all the time, especially here in Metro Detroit. How older housing stocks, and people hold on to their houses a long time, and then they get reassessed like right away, right? So then when it goes up, it might go up 3 or 4 times X of what it was. So basically that's what the things that I would probably look into doing before maybe selling or so like that, and then see how you can maximize the property. If I don't know if the property is it's in the lease already, but obviously just know like okay, can you hold on to the property maybe to a year to maybe try to go up on rent if the rent goes shows for that, right? If it's improvements that you could probably make to get higher rent, I would try to do everything before having to sell because I know it's hard. If you're doing a cash out to get the property, if you saved up a down payment to get the property, I mean, you just don't want to lose out that, and then you lose on capital gains and all that stuff. So I would just try to do all of those things first before you maybe have to sell. But if it doesn't cash flow after that point, then maybe selling will be the best option at that point.
Anything else you guys want to add in? Looks like they added in that where did it go? I was shocked that the lender had the right to increase escrow reserve 2 times from 2K to 4K.
So this sounds like a no insurance or tax increase. I would look at your reserves because there's a reason that they increased that. This is probably not factoring in the tax change upon purchase. A lot of states will do an adjustment of the assessed value when you purchase the property. A lot of them assess it right up to, if not a little bit above what you bought it for. I know mine got assessed at like $10,000 or $15,000 higher than what I bought it for that next year. So what the previous guys were paying was $1,200 a year. Mine's going up to 5,000. So
Yeah.
it's just a little bit different. Another thing is if you're saying it's negative $150 a month, is that what you bought it as, or is that like stabilized where rent should be? Because I've bought actually both properties I was losing money day one when I bought the properties, but when I actually, when I rehabbed the property and then re-rented it at market rents or a little bit below market rents, usually I'm about 100 below, they were cash flowing very well. So if that's the case, I don't even think this is a difficult one. Now you know way more than I do about the situation because you're the owner of the property, but these are all things that I'm thinking of just outside from some of the information that you've given.
I'll add one item on there. I always look at, do I want to own it in the long term? Because I did have some alligators where I was like, do I want to own a long term? No. Because like it was in an area that had constant like break-ins, right? So like somebody moves out, I fix it up, somebody breaks it in, it's like 5K more to fix it up. I'm like, easy. I'm like, okay, let's fix it up, sell it, get rid of it. So I would look at that as well. Negative cash flow at 150 is fairly small.
Yeah.
Probably debt pay down is probably still greater than 150. So like, is it great? No, but 10 years from now, if you like that area, I would keep it.
Yeah.
Denzel do exactly what I was gonna say when you
Yep.
mentioned break-ins.
Yeah.
Yep. I already know.
Let's see. Yeah, sorry, I might be saying it wrong, but 1971 Lacey. If I I hate trying to promote it, but a great place to be is also in the school community. For $20 a month, you can. There's a lot of accountability calls, and you probably get a lot of different type um, of these questions answered or different viewpoints. So yeah, come check it out if you want. From your picture, though, I think you were in school before. You look familiar. I think if I could be mistaking you for someone else. But Flavio is saying, Justin, next time in Vegas, we should have an indoor soccer game, Seattle versus Hawaii. I want to see Justin and Millennial Mike play one-on-one. That's what I want to see.
Oh yeah, we played quite a bit of pickup. Recently, I haven't because I moved like an hour further away from him, so it would take me like over 3 hours round trip to play down where he's at.
See, we got anything else here? Rusty said he's staying here. Um, Rusty is saying now, I just got hit with tax assessment on 3 properties. They were full renovation. Taxes went up about 800 to 1,000 on each one. Ouch. Yeah, so it looks like the other person was in school. Yes. From your picture, I believe you're in Jersey. You're a dentist, right? I think you're an agent out in Jersey. But yeah. Yeah, anything else you guys want to dig into? There's a couple questions I'll bring up after. But anything else you guys want to talk about the spring market? I mean, like, do you think the rates dipping under 6 is like something that's like people have been waiting for? Just that number of seeing a 5 handle on it, like Zuber's talking about. So maybe Dylan, you can touch on that first.
Yeah, I believe it gets people excited. I feel like we've been in a position right now where prices gone up, rates gone up. It was just more like that compounded how difficult it was for people to get houses that they actually wanted to buy. Seeing things come back into the fives, I think it's a sign of, for them, things are more affordable, even though prices are higher. Prices are lower in some places too. I just bought a house, closed on Wednesday. I bought it for lower than people were buying it in the past 2 years, like in that exact same model in that same neighborhood. So you might be seeing some deals, and rates are improving for home buyers. I think it's a good sign all around for people that are wanting to get into houses this year.
Justin, you're probably in the maybe the highest price point market. So do you think the rates dipping into the fives is going to be impactful for your area?
I think it's going to help, but we're in I don't think it's going to help as much as other markets. My prediction here is that Seattle is very tech heavy. There's been mass layoffs, right? So 2,000 of the 16 or so for Amazon. A lot of friends of mine were laid off last month, right? So they may be using that refi to just survive to the next job, right? Or doing a HELOC to survive, right? They may not be looking to buy right now. But the people who are liquid still have a job and they think they're going to have a job next month, next year. For sure, those people are going to be active. But I think there's quite a bit of people here that are hesitant on pulling the trigger on a buy. Which, when I was talking at the beginning, this is why days on market are increasing. Prices, depending on the area, are flat to down. So there's definitely it's not your typical spring season and gangbusters right now, even with the rates coming down.
Denzel, what about you? For you, I don't know. I know Detroit's been kind of revitalized, right? It's kind of booming.
Yeah.
Is there a lot of tech in that area or heading into that area yet? Or
Oh no, we've been getting more of hospitality in our area. We've been getting more service based. I told you before. We got different. We got like our first 5-star hotel that's coming to downtown Detroit. Is starting to being built. We're starting to get a lot of hospitality, restaurants, stores that is starting to come. That's bigger in other areas. So that's what we kind of starting to see now. It's been drawing people downtown. And just in the metro area. And obviously, for us, again, I think for sure it's a lot of pent up demand. I think rates is going, a little bit under 6 is going to definitely help. People are going to be out there shopping. I mean, I'm telling you, man, it's like I was just out yesterday and I went to an open house. I mean, it was in like in a cul-de-sac, and the whole cul-de-sac was filled up with just how with cars just ready to go in. And it was the nicest day, by the way. It was like 56 degrees here, and everybody was out. And I'm like, wow, I didn't even go into the open house. My client was like, yeah, I don't want to. I'm like, yeah, okay. And we just end up driving off because they knew that they didn't want to get into any bidding wars. So it's starting, and for sure in my market, this is where it gets fun. So got to get creative how you make offers.
Yeah, in your market, if based on what you said earlier, I think you said around 250K. If you did a 5% down, 6% interest, you're basically at 1450. And then add in insurance, maybe you're at 1550. So like you the rent versus buy, it makes sense to buy at that scenario.
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. And that's crazy. We go back and forth with this, my clients and just what should I do? Should I continue to rent? Should I buy? But it's still there evenly. Like, I mean, for example, like the rental I bought just recently in January, and again, I think I put 20% down. Obviously, nothing special. I bought down the interest rate to like 6.3. It was like a 6 point. They was quoting me at like 6.7, 6.8. I bought it down to 6.3. My mortgage is like, you know, $1,300 compared to like, renting a 3 bedroom, 1 bathroom house. You get that in a decent area for $1,300. If someone got that all day, I mean, that's just you're not getting that for rent. No.
But
Rusty is saying he just closed a DSCR refi at 6.3%. Not too bad. I know on the Gen Z accountability call this morning, Brandon Potts Built to Rent said he just did one, I believe 5.75. He said he did pay it down, and he also has a prepay, but he didn't do the traditional 5 4 3 2 1. I believe his is the 5 5 5 5 5. So definitely that's kind of why his rate was a little bit lower. I believe he went with lending one, he said.
Yeah, he said he paid 3 points. Well, he said a few points, so I guess it's subjective. I think three when somebody says a few. And yeah, he did say recommend lending one. And then Cody also sent somebody else that yeah, I could share if anybody's interested, but he was saying it was like in the sixes as well for DSCR, cash out refi, interest only.
Yeah, I was trying to get my contact at Lending One on one of the best calls in school, the Thursday Pittsburgh call, but he actually just got promoted. So there's a new person that does the loans now in my area. So I'll see if he can jump on the Thursday calls at some point. But yeah, Justin, you had a question, I think, or you have to touch on something.
yeah, so we're talking about Detroit being revitalized. So
Yeah.
I think it's been revitalized for the last 25 years. Because like when I went there in like 2018 and 19, I'm like, man, this is kind of cool, up and coming, and then they got all the stadiums by there.
Yeah.
I think the two big levers there, obviously, you got manufacturing. So with the tariffs and the you know bringing back the supply chain back to the central Midwest, combined with lower rates because you have UWM, which is like
Yep.
the largest or second largest lender, which
Yep.
they have like 10,000 plus employees, something like that. So if you have, the rates dropping, the refi boom, they're going to be filling up those UWM gigantic offices west of Detroit. And then you got the manufacturing coming back. So you could see a big surge in Detroit. Are you seeing it already, or is it kind of just slowly increasing?
Slowly increasing. Like I said, the refis are coming, for sure. I spoke to a bunch of my mortgage broker friends, and they are starting to do the refis now, and see a lot of advertisement out for them doing that now. And just I already know, like as far as with the lowest rates again, they're going to, it's about to start to boom as far as our housing market, and it is continuing to go up. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, you can here right now, you buy a house, you know 250,000, 300,000. Next year or two, you at 450 at that point. I mean, it's just continuing to go up because we're so below, where, national prices are as far as, where we are because we've just been so far behind throughout the years. So I think we're just catching up. and people are seeing that on the tax assessments tremendously now. So it's just been, I think that's been the biggest surprise. I didn't hear taxes so many times throughout the last 3 to 5 months. I've just been hearing my taxes, my taxes, my taxes, and a lot of these real estate agents are not telling their clients or even giving them numbers based off of what they currently are now. So it's just been one of those things to pay attention to.
Yep, they'll reassess because I know that when I was in Milwaukee, I'd be buying these properties, between duplexes 60, 80,000 back in the day. And
Yeah,
then but they were on the previous person had bought them 20 to 40,000, right? So
yeah,
then you get a letter in the mail that says, "Hey, we want to access your unit to see what the value of the property is." So I'd never let them in, but then they would still reappraise it, and you're like, Jesus,
yeah,
the taxes keep getting jacked up on.
right.
You know,
Just and
to that. Oh, go ahead. No, go
no,
ahead.
I had another question related, but I'll let you go, Mark.
I was just gonna say to that point, Dion and Brian Davila had a school exclusive interview at the event. It kind of talks about going back to cash flow rentals, or rentals don't cash flow today, right?
Oh,
Yeah, Denzel, I'll give you a hard time about that too. That you won't be able to see that until you join school. But
oh, Joanne, you got me,
but
Mark.
but to we had this discussion also, and you guys are talking about taxes being reassessed, and I think a lot of it is this is just a perfect storm right now where everything is hitting investors, right? So insurance have gone up, property taxes are going up, cost of construction is going up. So yeah, cash flow deals are harder to find, the margins are slimmer. But if you can just kind of weather this storm, I think, and just get through this kind of period, I think just like anything, it's like a cycle, right? So right now it's higher rates, and it's just this period where it seems very challenging, but if you can just get through it, I think same thing, right? You'll be better off on the other side, right?
Yeah, I agree with that, Mark, for sure. I think that's it is real. It's really, like I said, I've been hearing a lot of investors complaining right now about this, how it is to buy right now, and a lot of them are holding off, not buying. Just in my market, I've been hearing I'm a part of a lot of Facebook group chats with real estate investors and stuff, and they're like, "Yeah, I'm not buying right now. I'm not buying. It's hard to cash flow. Can't get any cash flow. Taxes reassess. My insurance went up. My management fees are going up." And they don't see, a lot of them are not seeing the worth in it. I take a different approach. I think if you can get something to cash flow, and right now in this market, I mean, I think you can be better off, 3 to 5 years down the line. I think, once things start to calm down, or if it ever calms down, I mean, I think you're gonna if you cash flowing now, right now, I think it's just one of those things that you just going to be in a good position 5 to 10 years from now.
To that point, real quick, I'm not sure if that individual is still here, but the one that had that alligator, like you touched on property management too. That's another option too, right? Like if you maybe have to self-manage for the time being, right? That is a 10% possibly expense that you can kind of cut out there, right? So you got, like I said, it's kind of like a marriage. Make sure you go through all your options first before you just say, I'm going to just get rid of this property.
Yeah.
Let's see if we got anything. Curtis is here. Hey, I invited him on, but I guess he's a belt holder now, so he said I don't need to do this kind of stuff.
He's too big time now.
Yeah, that's what he said. That's what he told. I
Yeah.
said, well, whatever's, man. But he says, yeah, Washington multifamily, less inventory and sitting longer.
Mark, to your point about property management being a 10% expense, uh, that is something I think that investors, if they're close enough to their property and they have the ability to self manage, it's 10% of gross. So if you compare that 10% of gross plus whatever maintenance markups and everything they have, compare that against what your net is, because it might be close to equal to that. So if you cut out the manager and then you just have all of that money together, you got to do a little bit of work now and again. But if you're having problems cash flowing now, that is the solution to your problem. You bought the wrong property. You might just have to suck it up and manage your own properties for a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And you know what, Dylan, is not even, I mean, from my experience, and Justin, you can probably tell me different, but like, because you have like a lot of units, but it's not that big of a, I know it's not, I mean, I barely get calls, like from all my
Yeah.
tenants, like, as long as you take care of them, you buy good properties that's well, that is well taken care of and well mannered, you don't really have any issues. I mean, I mean, you got good tenants. I don't get any. I don't know. I don't know. I just think if they got the utilities, they paying for. I mean, they're doing the landscape. It's pretty much nothing else to do. Yeah, you might get a hot water tank. You prepare for that, furnace and stuff like that. But when I buy, I kind of. I mean, you can't never like guess when those things are going to go out. But like, you got to do your due diligence on the property. You got to know, like, okay, this is going to go out. This got 2 years life on it. This got 3 years life on it. Just kind of know it that based off that. But like, I mean, managing is not really that difficult. I mean, it's a little bit of more of a headache because you're dealing with the tenant sometimes, or they might got requests or questions, but it's not. It's just a quick text message. I'm done. I put my phone down. I'm done. It is what it is. You know.
Yeah. Anything else you guys want to touch on your guys' markets, or what are you guys expecting maybe in the next few months? I don't know, Dylan, you got anything?
I am right now trying to increase my liquidity because I foresee myself either doing. Oh, Brandon's calling me. I will have to call him back later. I foresee myself doing new construction or buying a duplex sometime this year. That's the goal. I recently have been talking to some friends that do a lot of flips and stuff, and they've got friends that are like architects and stuff like that. They're trying to connect me with the GCs and the people to be able to get the plans together. But I really want to learn how to build something after talking to Brandon a few times and listening to what Brandon has to say about doing new construction and how he's been able to pretty much just create 30% equity from just doing the work of buying the land and having the property built and then being able to recycle most of his money back into the next deal. I think that's fantastic because you get properties that have almost no maintenance issues. They're high quality, so you get a bigger tenant selection base because a lot of people want to live there. I just think all around it's fantastic, and that's really what I'm wanting to shift more to instead of buying like one of my properties is a 1900. I don't want too many more of those.
Yeah, I understand.
Justin, I know you're probably working on some things. What about you for your market?
Specifically on the on the agent side, what we're doing right now with clients is that we're focusing on best value. So we're trying to price it right below what the market is, kind of lead it down. But then we're working with the clients to update the property, do the pre-inspection, and trying to get the most amount of buyers. One of the things I was looking at on our trends in King County, the number of shows to pending is actually declining. So, which is kind of a good thing. It's like there less people are looking at it, but you're still going pending. So the people that are coming, we want to make sure that they actually submit an offer. So, and we're having those hard conversations. For example, we had a starter home, small, it's like 700-ish square feet, in very South Seattle. So we worked with the client. And we readjusted expectations. He was like 5 to 525. We listed at 485. He probably put 10 to 15,000 into it, landscaping, updating the painting and stuff. And we've been getting a ton of traction on this one. So we have offer review day Tuesday. So our goal here is that instead of trying to get the perfect buyer, price it a little bit lower, get multiple buyers, and hopefully it takes you back up. So 2 years ago, you would just kind of throw it on the market, and it would basically sell, right? In today's world, you've got to be the most value, right? For the price and what you're getting needs to make sense for people.
Denzel, maybe talk about your market a little bit, what you're hoping to see, and then also maybe give people a little insight on your ADU project. I forget how long ago you completed that, but maybe the pros and cons and maybe some headaches on dealing with that.
Yeah. So into my market, I'm expecting it to be a buyer frenzy, for sure. Like I said earlier, I think that with the rates being where they are, the summer and spring approaching, I definitely think it's just going to be a buyer frenzy. I think, like you said, Justin, pricing the property at a specific realistic number, a little bit below where you think what the most value is probably when I'm probably going to see, and that's where the multiple offer situations are going to come across, and that's what I've been noticing, just how homes been priced in the area. Now, as far as like my project, my ADU, I had a small hiccup, and it's just one of those things, and Dylan, you talking about building, but basically, yeah, I've been building this ADU for since 2024. I had a house fire, and I had a basically a dadu in the back of my property. It burnt up, and basically, I've been building ADU ever since. So I've been going through the process of it, and I just came to a huge snag, which was almost about to be an $8,000 hit. But basically, I was in a process doing my final inspection, and mind you, the inspector been at my property over the last probably last 8, 10 times over the last 18 months or something like that. And we finish, he do the final inspection, he does his walk around, and then he's like, oh yeah, you can go ahead and rent it now. Mind you, I got my photographer ready for the following weekend to take pictures. It's gonna be a sunny day. It's going to get it properly done. And then turns out that he said I basically needed another egress because it basically mine's is a 2-car garage over an apartment. So it's like 700 square feet at the top. And basically, he said I needed another egress point. I couldn't have an egress point going directly into the garage. I would need another door so that they can go up the stairs and be, where they wouldn't have to go into the garage to exit. So basically, I had a couple options to do. I could have built some stairs. I had a balcony off the ADU, and so I could have built stairs from the balcony. That was going to cost me $8,000. Decided not, and then the other option was to basically extend the wall in the garage and put another door there so it can go strictly up. So basically, that's what we decided to do. We did it, and now got my final inspection again after 2 weeks of having to do with my builder. Um, I'm going to basically get it re-inspected. Hopefully, we pass. But it's been basically building is. It just comes with its complications because honestly, that was the city's fault, right? The city's got my plan. They reviewed the plans that you pay for them to review it. The same inspector has been out there 18 times. Should have mentioned it in the framing. Didn't mention it in the framing. Didn't, no fault of my own, and still got caught with something at the end of my last inspection. But other than that, though, with it being done, I done doubled the value of my property by at least $250,000. And I'm planning on using that equity to do a HELOC while I'm here, to draw some of that out to be able to buy my next, maybe a duplex. I've been actually looking at vacant land too to see about building again because now I kind of understand this is my first build, and now the fact that I did it from the ground up and went through all the steps, I kind of learned a lot just going through the process. Now I got like access to architects and things like that, so I think it'd be a really good idea to buy some land. You can get some good land around in the area I am. It's pretty prime. If it was 60 to 90,000, buy something cash and then build something that's 200, 1,000 square feet on it, and it'd probably be worth $300,000 because everywhere my house is stock in this area is like early 1900s. So, but yeah, it's just been an interesting ride. But I'll be finished up with it pretty soon. But that's my next goal, next plan is just to draw from that equity once it's done, and then go ahead and repeat the process.
I see Brandon tuning in of Building Wealth Flow. He spoke day 2 at the ORAD event in Vegas, and he was just calling Dylan. So I gave him a hard time on why he's bothering you when you're live streaming. So he jumped on over here. But I do live stream every week now with Brandon on Tuesdays. I also live stream every Monday with Cody Davis, and everyone also Justin and Cody are also live streaming every Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific. So check them out. They're also but I want to make sure we get into this one kind of question or post that I saw on X. I've been tossing it around with a lot of people and getting their thoughts on it. So I guess Mr. Beast, I guess what is it, year 2 or season 2 now? The winner was announced. They would receive $5 million, I believe. So the question or post was though, would you want $5 million today or $50,000 a month for life? So who wants to touch on this first?
Cash flow.
Yeah.
I'll take
Okay.
Yeah.
That's
Okay. Give me the. Go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
No, you go first. I'm typing it in Gemini because I have an answer, but I want to back it up with like financials.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't have any financials with it, but definitely I would take the 50,000. A month for sure over the 5 million. It was 5 million, right?
5 million upfront or 50K a month for life.
50K a month for life for sure. And it's because I'm living below that now. So I mean, just to have an additional, 40K or something like that after my expenses is gone. I mean, I could do so much with that, just as far as rentals. If I'm continuing to do that in real estate, and just can't I mean, it's a no brainer. I'd rather have flowing money than just like something sitting in my account because at that point you got to kind of move things around. I know you can probably put it in like mutual funds or something like that, but I just kind of want it to continue to roll.
Dylan?
Yeah, so I answered this one. Good thing. I'm glad you chose the 50K because I chose the other one. Just so we have a little bit of difference of
Yeah.
opinions here. I chose the 5 million because I thought that you could do more with 5 million now than 50K a month. Now, we were in our group chat last night like debating over this one, but I said essentially take the 5, put 4 million of it into real estate at like a 65% LTV, by 12 million worth of real estate roughly, and then put a million in stocks or something like that, and then you're chilling. You might not be making the 50K a month, but you might. I don't know. What is the cash flow yield on that? You know, if you're at a 7 or 8% on 4 mil.
Interesting. Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Justin, you want to break this tie so far? Yeah.
See, I'm always in the camp of take the money today because like what you can't control is how much the government's going to take from you in the future. And you know, the other thing is your previous guest that was on before, he's talking about if you get divorced, you know, you could lose money there. But my thing is like if I have it in my hands, I can control it today. If I was going to get 5 million, similar to what Dylan's saying, you can go buy real estate, lever it up, do bonus depreciation. That way you have no taxable event. And then you can invest that, keep that 5 million generating cash flow for you. So, and the other thing about it is like, I'd rather have the money today and use it every day and for as long as I live, right? So like if you did live like 100 years, so I just did the math through Gemini. So if you took 5 million today at 5% interest, what's it worth in 30 years? It's 21, call it 22 million. If you had 50K per month in 30 years at 5%, it's 42 million. But the question is, will you live that long? So I'd rather take the money, live off of it today. It's more money right now. I can control it versus the 50K per month moving forward.
I don't know. I just think that I think well, that's good. That's good. I think that just have because I'm like more of a I wouldn't say like I feel like I'm a kind of a builder in a sense. Like I like what I have going on now. So it's like, okay, give me 50K a month and let me continue to build off of that and make and then I'll be able to recreate that in the kind of sense. I'm not saying you guys are not building. I'm just saying that I kind of like it. Like from if you had to give it to me today, like okay, look, I can take this 50 grand, do this, do this, and do this, and make this happen. Instead of getting that 5 million all up front and be like, okay, I'm gonna take this whole 4 million to Dylan's point and say I'm gonna take $4 million. I mean, I never had $4 million before, but I have had, 50K or I've had 100K. So it's just like I can build off of that and continue to go forward than just having this money that I never had before, then know exactly what to do with it. And like, yeah, I'm just gonna put 4 million here and then I'll live off the million or I'll have the million or like vice versa, what I guess Justin said too. But both, I think I'll be better happy in both situations. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah, I'm not even
Absolutely.
gonna debate it.
I think absolutely there's no
Yeah.
wrong answer. I'm probably going to change it probably depending on who's on the panel, but I'm definitely in the camp of the laziest approach and the 50K a month, right? Is like I think Coach Nick earlier he said, you can screw up 50K a month and the next month you got it again, right? And he also mentioned, of course, the divorce thing, right? If you
Yeah.
say you got 5 million, then your spouse could be entitled to half of that if you got divorced. But yeah, to me, it's kind of looking at it from a kind of a set it and forget it, right? Do you want that at 50K a month every month, or do you want 5 million and be like, now let's see what I can do here with it and what can I grow, right? So yeah, definitely, it's an interesting question, right?
What did I don't watch Beast Games, so what'd they pick?
Shoots, you know what? I saw a post. I believe they took the 5 million up front.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
I saw
yeah,
the wire.
yeah. I saw the wire for it.
Because if you flip it on the other side, right? Now you're Mr. Beast, right? And this is me. I used to be in
Yeah.
finance at Amazon. So he's mathematically like, hey, like 50K per month, he knows his channel is always going to generate that money.
Yeah, yeah.
Versus 5K right now, he probably wanted the guy to take, or the person to take 50K per month, because like his residuals is going to do that, right? Versus 5K right now is probably a bigger hit to him. I mean, for him, it's probably not that big of a hit, but in reality, it probably feels more impact to his business. So I can see why he pitched the 50K per month.
Yeah, no, there's absolutely no wrong way, and everyone has their little kind of nuance on why they're looking. So, like Hyder, for example, he is saying 5 million for me, less counterparty risk, trusting one transaction versus trusting perpetual transactions, right?
Yeah.
Brandon, building wealth flow, says time value of money optimized probably proves you can make more with the money now. Pay me now or pay me later. Yep. And then Curtis, if I would find Curtis, eh? But Curtis does say with either option, you aren't going to see me for a bit.
Yeah. Well, I think if the other thing, if you're Mr. Beast, like talk about evergreen content, you meet with that person that won every year, right? So now you're generating more revenue from that income. So he probably wanted the 50K per month.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, it's a great position to be in, though.
Yeah.
Anything else you guys want to? I do have something else. If you guys, unless you guys want to touch on something real fast.
Sure.
No. Well, so going back to Justin and Cody live streaming on Wednesdays, they were talking about it. They had a great discussion. Someone did post something in school talking about paying like $300 extra a month to pay off their mortgage in 15 years, or save on this much interest, right? So what are your guys' thoughts on making extra payments toward your mortgage monthly? Justin, since you guys kind of talked about something like that, what kind of give a recap of what you guys discussed?
Yeah, the question is, because there's a Dave Ramsey model. You pay the lowest interest off first, or you pay the highest interest off first, or you pay the lowest balance. And then I heard Cody and Christian talking about this thing called the debt hammer. I don't exactly know what it was, but then Cody was like, "Hey, what I do is I just wait till I have a massive chunk and pay it all off, right?" And he used a fire analogy, which I'm like, this kid always amazes me. He's like early 20s and it comes up with these great analogies. He's like, if I had a fire, like I wouldn't want to just put a little bit of water on it. I'd want to put like a massive bucket of water, i.e. cash, to it to pay it off so that the fire goes out. I'm like, oh, that's kind of a great idea. And the reason is, and I'm in the same boat as him, is when you have a lot of properties and you're highly leveraged, you can have a lot of bad things go on at once. So a lot of cash can go out all at once. So sometimes it makes sense to hold on to that cash. And so then once you have enough cash built up to pay a large chunk off, which actually this is happening right now, like because I just sold one of my tiny homes for 30,000, and the debt that I have on all 4 tiny homes that's left, yeah, check just hit this morning. So I have 30,000 just hit my account. I have 22,000 left on those 3 remaining tiny homes. So now I paid that off. Now 2,200 a month I'm not paying out. So it's a big cash flow position switch for me.
Denzel, any thoughts on making extra payments to your mortgage every month?
Uh, yeah, I kind of like what Justin said about it. I think that if you can save the money, the extra $300 now, and save it and put a little bit more towards it, then down the line, that's probably the more route that I would probably go. Uh, or just not for me. Like again, I want to be able to accumulate as many rentals as I possibly can. That I feel a good number for. For me, I don't need 50 units, 60 units. I just want 10 personally. And if I can get to 10, then at that point, that's when I would probably start to pay off, the lowest balance, not the highest interest, but the lowest, balance I have on one of those properties, and then start to pay them off down the line. So I think, I wouldn't, if you can, I would hold that money because things happen. You never know what things happen. I mean, for me, I actually had a fire, so I understand to have basically have that stash put away where you can survive and go through those things and not really affect you. So I think it's nice to have good savings to be able to do that before putting $300 on your mortgage, especially if you got a good interest rate. It just depends on where you are too. I mean, if you just got one primary and that's your primary goal is to pay off your house, might make sense. But I mean, $300, that can go into the market, that can go into stocks, that can do something else that maybe can present a little bit more of a return for you. So I'll kind of look into those things before I have to, put $300 towards my mortgage.
Dylan, thoughts on that?
Yeah, I would have a different answer for the primary and for the investment properties.
Mm,
Um, for the primary, I think okay, you can put a couple $100 per month to help pay that one off. For the investment, mostly because I don't look at the primary as like an. I know some people see it as a asset. It just costs you every month. Yeah, they go up in value, but I don't buy the whole primary as an investment property. I assume I'm just losing money to equate to whatever inflation is or something to that effect, unless I did a value add deal. For the investment properties, though, I very much agree with what you guys are saying and Cody and Christian's whole ideology on that. That it's better to have the cash now because if you have a really big problem, oh, I've been just shoving all of my cash into paying off the mortgage. Now I have this 20 or 30,000, or maybe I have $100,000 bill where I need to redo a new roof on an apartment building. Like that's a really big deal. It's better to have the money on hand because what we can end up doing at some point is just selling off a few of our properties, just like Justin did in this case, and just hammer the debt on one of them. Just eradicate it altogether all at once. Also, the debt is becoming less valuable over time. So if you hold on to the money, it's not really doing you any bad, in my opinion. If your main goal is to pay it off.
yeah. And, another thing I like to look at too with that is it's just making sure if you do have debt that you want to pay off, just whatever season you are in. So like for me, when I'm in acquisition mode, if I'm buying something, I'm in acquisition mode. I'm saving as much as I possibly can. I'm using that as down payments. I'm using that for remodeling things, repairs and stuff like that. But then if I'm in like, okay, it's time to pay some debt off, then I'll switch modes and I'm like, okay, now I need to pay some debt off because you start to think about it. Let's say if you're getting cash flow like, you know, $400 or $500 a month, and then you got a debt consistently that's $500 or $600 a month. I mean, could you now your new acquisition would technically be paying for that debt, but I would kind of think of it as like, okay, now if I can pay that debt off and not have to pay $500 a month, and then now acquire a cash flow and rental that's $500 or $600 a month, and now that's $1,000 now that I'm able not to spend out, but now bring into my account that I don't have to spend and then go. So I just kind of like I like to acquire then pay debt, acquire pay debt, acquire pay debt. That's kind of how I am. It's kind of slower that way because honestly, if I'm in just acquisition mode all the time, then I can continue to build. But I don't like to have a lot of debt on like far as like consumer debt or like student loans, car loans, and stuff like that. I just try to get rid of it completely, and have done that before I even acquire anything else. I just like to kind of keep it balanced so that way I'm having more cash flow coming in than me paying out on debt.
Stephen Coyote, he also hard hat to rentals in school, says my wife pays a couple of hundred extra dollars a month on our main mortgage, and I hate it. But I would like to sell this house because I'm in a flood zone and an HOA. So I let her do it just in case we ever decide to sell. That's the only reason I would let that fly. I mean, yeah. But I guess my thing is always by making extra payments, it doesn't change anything for you, right? Until
Yeah,
you make the complete payoff of it. So I would rather hold it in another like most of us are saying as a liquidity or a reserve. But then the issue with that, a lot of times people push back is their thing is if I save up this large chunk of money,
yeah, yep.
I'll spend it on another deal. So that is why they pay it so that it's not there for them to use on another acquisition. So, but to Dylan's point too, I would say, well, I would buy that great deal that you said that might come up, and I can sell something else, maybe an underperforming asset in my portfolio to now pay off that other debt that I was trying to pay off, right? So, but I would just try to, like you're saying, accumulate more pieces and then pay off another one. But let's get to Charles' question and wrap that up with this. This will be the last one. But he did ask, I think it was with the 50K a month. He says, how much debt would 50,000 a month buy? Not quite sure what he's, how much debt.
Well, if you lever it up, right? So if you have 80% leverage, so you'd be 250,000 per month. Or if you added it, times that by 12 if you bought one thing a year versus one time a month.
I wonder if he's asking about like how much bad debt you could get yourself into with 50K a month. I don't know.
You could do that in a heartbeat. People go buy a Lambo, buy a liability.
You can
Well,
do
the
that
cool
now with
thing
no
is-
money.
Yeah, I know, right? 0% interest for 3 months, and then it's like,
Yeah.
Steven is saying, yeah, help me tell her that, Mark.
Steven, what I would do for you, something to think about it. If you're familiar with the term velocity banking, you go get a HELOC on your house. Now you'd have to look at interest rates, current mortgage, and the HELOC, but it actually works out pretty well if you, even with a higher HELOC rate than your primary mortgage, where if you have equity in the house, take a HELOC out, you can take a chunk of that money in the HELOC, put it down on the mortgage, and then every time your money comes in from your paycheck, instead of sitting in your checking account, it sits in the HELOC, and you very quickly pay down that HELOC. And so it's more how you use your money.
Oh, he might have. So just letting everyone know, Justin is on a cruise again. I can't keep track of where he is in the ocean.
Back
But
out. That's pretty. You'd have to refinance or get HELOCs.
yeah. Anything else you guys want to wrap things up with? Then I think this was a great live. I see a lot of people were able to tune in. I see Caesar's here. He was also in Vegas. Brandon does say you can lever up that 5 million. Also, yeah, absolutely. There's no wrong way. Definitely. The Get Wealthy Podcast 360. I believe they're coming in from Justin's channel. But they say, how many rental properties do you need to buy a Lamborghini? Asking for a friend. Whew.
Lamborghini. So if that's
$2,500 a month, something like that.
how much is a Lambo? 250.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have. I'm just doing the math. 250.
He's like, "What's my payment?" No, I'm just kidding.
It's 250, 0% down. Let's just say it's 5% interest and amortized probably 7 year?
Yeah.
Whoa, sheesh. Not even, this is just payments, 35, 33. If you did 0 down, 250K, so 35, 33 per month. So if you had, say you have a $300 a month cash flowing, you'd have to have 12 properties.
With no problems.
Yeah, exactly. Like actually cash flowing.
Like actually cash flowing. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you
Yeah.
say like 20 or 30 at that rate? If you really want to be comfortable with it and also like pay for your lifestyle and stuff too, maybe a little bit.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's just for the Lambo.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, you can live in it. You don't have to have a house.
exactly.
So Steven also adds, oh yeah, no one mentioned hard money lending with the 50K. Well, either way, you could hard money lend too, right?
Yeah.
Even with the 5 million. But Charles is saying $5 million loan, 30-year AM would be 40,000 a month. So
I don't think they'll approve you for that though, because you need to be at, what is it, 30% on the front end on the DTI?
But I'm trying to understand what so he mentioned what kind of debt could you wait. I think he's trying to compare how much debt can you get with 50K a month, right?
Mhm.
And if you had 5 million up front, I think that's what he's trying to compare, like how much debt or acquisition you can get, right?
I think what he might be getting at is like when that example I gave, that assumes 5% interest, right? Because I was saying 5 million lump sum, 5% interest versus 50K per month at 5%. the difference on the 5 million, which is not factored in, would be the cash flow and the appreciation based on a higher leverage amount, right? So when you start factoring those other things, those numbers probably start to narrow quite a bit in terms of the spread.
Yep. No wrong way. It'd be fun. I mean, definitely, I would love to have that option and see what comes from it. Right? That'll be a lot of fun. Yeah, like I said, I'll put everyone's channel one last time in the chat. If you haven't yet, go subscribe, like. Also, if you want to connect with Denzel, his Instagram page will be in there. We'll get him in school shortly, and I don't know if he's heard, but the Vegas event won't be in February next year. It will be in January now, so it'll be even a better time for you to probably get out of Detroit.
Yes.
But he's going to have it Martin Luther King weekend, because February is Valentine's Day and Super Bowl weekend. So he is, and Detroit won't be in the Super Bowl. I'm sure the Bears might be there, but Detroit won't.
Well, I'll be there.
But yes, go subscribe, follow them, connect. Any final word, Justin? Where are you traveling? Actually, you kind of lost a little connection, but you're on a cruise again, right?
Yeah, I'm in the Pacific, midway between LA and Cabo somewhere. So, which, ironically, like I was just meeting with my tax guy, and this is my new best friend. So I was like, well, I usually work when I'm traveling, and I was like, is this something we can write off, And he's like, everything I said, he'd be like, well, you need to rejuvenate so when you get back home, you can sell more real estate. And I'm like, I like it. So, so basically, like all these trips, now we're going back to 23, 24, 25 and readjusting all our taxes to layer in all our travel. And I'm like, okay, it's going to build up my passive losses so that when I get that $5 million, that I can offset the tax on the $5 million.
There we go.
Nice. All right. Any final word, Denzel, Dylan? You got anything?
No final words for me.
All right. Always good catching up, fellas. Thanks for doing this. And everyone, I believe Zuber is the short-term rental call in school might still be going on. I believe Frank and Cynthia will probably be going live today. Dylan, you still go live on Sundays, right? With Jack?
No, actually, we're going live in 1 hour today. So if you want to catch me on another live stream,
everyone tune into Dylan. Who's there? Jack?
Yeah, it's going to be Jack, me, and Lynn. We talk about investing in the Midwest. So Denzel, we need to have you on sometime.
Yeah, for sure. I'd love to.
And then I believe Zuber will be going live in school tomorrow at 8 a.m. Pacific, I believe. I think I saw it on the calendar. But everyone else, if not, I'll see you Monday live. I'll be back with Cody Davis, 8 a.m. Pacific. All right. Thanks, everyone.